All right. What a match day so far for Barcelona fans. Hey, Abud.
Yeah, monster win, massive win, honestly. Must
Is it
win game
is it
today.
really that big of a win? It's just 2-0.
No,
I,
I
I
mean not the result. The magnitude of the game itself. If the message we had to send today had was clear, and especially that we're facing Sevilla in a couple of days in the second leg in the cup semi-final, which we lost 2-0 in the first leg. So today Barcelona weren't there to save their league title hopes. They were there to send a message to Sevilla that, you know what, we have you in a couple more days, and we're gonna take away the league and the cup from you. So Barca had to send the message today, and they had to send it with more than one goal. It was either supposed to be 2-0 or more, and that was to highlight how much they would need in the second leg. And I feel that today Barcelona sent that message loud and clear with the way they played and the way they performed today. A clean sheet and a 2-0 win away from home against Sevilla. Massive for Koeman.
yeah, and definitely it could have been a couple more than 2-0 as well. What do you take on the way Barcelona were set up tonight? Something that I haven't seen since. I don't believe Barcelona has ever played this formation. I remember a 3-4-3 in the 2009 Champions League semifinal, but I don't believe they've ever played 3-5-2.
Now they played it earlier this season, and it worked once when Messi was there. And there was two other games. I think that formation was used, the 3-5-2, in which it didn't work out. So Koeman has tried this before this season, and it has done well in the games where Messi has played, and hasn't done so well in the games where we went 3-5-2 without Messi in the formation. And you can see that today. This formation, it clearly wouldn't work without Messi. And today he pulled off the assist for Dembele's first goal, and he managed to score the second goal as well. So um, I wouldn't say this is like the cure to Barcelona's problems, but when you go away to Sevilla, who, no matter what you can talk about their form lately, they've been on a little bit of a slump lately. But you can't deny that Barcelona today played well and got the result they needed from a tough away home game. And this was Koeman's first win as a manager against Sevilla as Barcelona coach. He's played them four times, drew two times, and lost once. So
Oh wow.
he he had to send it today. He had to win today, because if we lost today's game, it would have ultimately instilled the mentality in our players that we're going to lose also the second leg. Sevilla would have headed into that game too confident and too successful heading into a game like that against Barcelona, and Koeman could not risk it today. So hats off to him today. 3-5-2 kept us solid at the back, even with Longley and Umtiti playing it at the end. Unfortunate that Ronald Araujo came on the game and got injured 2 minutes later and had
Yeah.
to be brought off. I feel that he, next to Mengueza and PK in a back three, with Alba and Dest on the flanks today, in a similar fashion to today, that could be our defense for the rest of the season in terms of the best options we have. But again, it all comes down to how Coman uses this lineup and how good the performers have to be, because Alba and Dest have a huge responsibility in this lineup. They have to carry the attack, and they also have to come back and help the three at the back. So I felt today that the midfield had a monster performance. Sergio Busquets had a great performance. De Jong was exceptional today. He was up and down the pitch, carrying the ball from the back line up to the front line. He was unstoppable today. He made a couple of runs today that reminded me of that De Jong we saw in Ajax. That De Jong that when Barcelona paid 80 million for, I was like, you know what, he is worth every single euro Barcelona put in that deal, because this is our midfield set for the next 10 years with this guy if he manages to adapt and succeed at this club. And today he showed once more that he is our second best player. And Ronald Koeman showed today, but in the role that he's been playing De Jong in, that he believes in Frankie De Jong as our second best player after Lionel Messi. And today he showed that once again, carrying the ball from the back, defending, tracking back, controlling the pitch. He was absolutely fantastic. He was everywhere today. did more than he should have today, and helped us carry a win. But I would say that it was mostly Messi doing the crucial bits in the attack today, and he was integral today, especially with Griezmann being on the bench, and especially with Dembele being played in a new role today, which he started as a nine. And today there was just a lot of changes for Coman, and he had to send out that message, and I feel that he did. He changed that lineup. But let's see how this formation plays in a couple more games before we judge, before we label this as the savior formation for Ronald Koeman and Barcelona this season. Let's wait a couple more games, see how they perform. Let them play teams with different styles, see how this formation fares and stands up against those teams, and see where we go from here. Because let's not forget today, Sevilla were not the high pressing, dangerous Sevilla that they usually are against us. And I'm not declaring it fully that today they threw the game today to focus on the cup semi-final, but it did feel that way at certain moments in the game. They weren't as intense as
Mm,
they usually are against
yeah.
Barca, and they allowed us a lot of space today. And when you allow us that much space with the players we have, and when they're playing as good as they did today, you're gonna get exploited no matter who you are, honestly. And
I
um,
mean, definitely. A cup tie, a cup tie that they're leading, they would definitely be more motivated for that. Especially probably knocking out Barcelona, who would be running favorites to win it if they got to the final. That would really boost them in a very comfortable position. So let's just go back a bit to the formation. Now, I know as a Barca fan, you're saying it 3-5-2, but I look at it as a 5-3-2, right? Because virtually there's five defenders present. That's not necessarily a bad thing, in my opinion. They're the same thing. Whenever you mention 3-5-2, it's 3-5-2 in attacking transition, 5-3-2 in a defensive transition. But we've seen how poor Busquets has been defensively, and we were talking about this against PSG after the PSG game. That over the years, Busquets' pace and tackling ability, he's just been out of it. Do you think playing with with five defenders has relieved the midfield of their defensive duties, which has allowed players like Busquets, De Jong to shine more? Because just takes away the defensive aspect of the game, and they can just focus on creativity, ball carrying, and creating chances.
yes, I absolutely agree with that point of view. It is a five at the back when we're under attack, which we weren't much under today. So it was mostly a 3-5-2 today because we were controlling most of the game. But yeah, unfortunately, we do need more than four defenders because of the state that our defense is in. So having another man in there stay at the back, and having Mengueza as a center back rather than a right back as a third center back worked very well today. Um, I don't think that. Sorry, what was the question again? I lost track.
I just meant like now that the midfielders don't have to focus so much more on their defensive duties, right?
Okay.
They don't really have to focus on tracking back. They already have three center backs there all the time. Do you think that's helped, you know, Barcelona extract the most out of De Jong, Busquets this season or
Absolutely.
this game?
Absolutely. In today's game, De Jong was allowed to freely roam like he has been able to against the lesser teams in the league, which we saw him excel and score in multiple games in. And today, having Dest and Alba on the wings as wingers and as also right wing backs, tracking back and helping with the defense, and having three at the back, 100% helped Busquets and De Jong today in terms of the attack. And because Sevilla weren't as highly pressing as usual, and they weren't as intense as usual, weren't the best team that they are before the recent losses that they've had, I felt that having them not be as intense and having Barcelona with three center backs and two full backs in addition to those three center backs, I feel that allowed De Jong to go up and down the pitch more, play a more attacking role, be freed of being a supporting center defensive mid. and rather go up front and show us what he can do in
Yeah,
that creative half. And I feel that
which
he
he
did
is
it the
so
best.
good at. Now,
Exactly.
now I want to turn the page the other way around. I talked about it being a back five. Now let's talk about being a back three and going forward. Today we saw something sometimes what we've seen from Alba in the past, where he managed to get into the box a lot, right? And there were a couple moments today in today's game where he was the furthest man forward. Now, using these wing backs as such far forward wingers, I'm just looking forward. Do you think it would be wise for Koeman to use this against Sevilla again, now that he's used it once, right? And Sevilla have also played five at the back very often. Today, I think they played four at the back. Now, Sevilla's played five at the back very often. Do you think that would counter this?
Yes, I absolutely do, and I think we should also line up the same way that we did today in the second leg, because we already have a working method that's worked against them and away from home as well. And if something works, you don't go and cut it the next game. So I'm just curious, where does Griezmann fit into Ronald Koeman's plans if he were to use the same lineup that we used today against Sevilla in the second leg? Because he didn't play today, he did not get a single minute today, and I'm assuming that he will be getting minutes in the second leg. That's why he's been rested today. Um, so I'm curious where Griezmann fits in that lineup, or if him being included in the same lineup that we saw today in the second leg is going to affect that performance, or is it going to affect the impact of that lineup that we saw today?
Yeah, but why do you assume that Griezmann's gonna come back? Because back to back wins and back to back games where Griezmann hasn't started.
Hmm. I think he's been good. I don't think he's been a bad
Yeah, he's
performer,
been
and I
good,
think,
but
but I don't think Coman can bench him for more than 2 games, to be honest. Especially for someone who's not, on a poor run of form,
yeah,
like
that's true.
Griezmann. Yeah.
But then where would he fit?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure. Today we saw Dembele playing the 9 role, and honestly, I did not expect him to pull off the performance that he did today. He was absolutely brilliant today, making runs that we haven't seen in a while from
Yeah,
someone in that position at the club. So it was refreshing to see Messi have someone on the end of those passes instead of Alba, who always ends up on the back end of those Messi passes. So that was nice today, and it was nice to also see Dembele finish in those important positions. An issue that I brought up in the past that he's been having, especially in big games, especially in crucial moments in the final third, in games where you think he's done everything. He's dribbling, he's a threat, a constant threat on the wing, but he just lacks in that final third. And today he buried that pass that Messi sent him, and from there I knew the game was gonna coast. I knew we are gonna coast that game, even though it was just 1-0. I knew, okay, something is different today. Dembele is on a different gravy today. He's finishing first time passes from Messi, and he's moving correctly. He's occupying the center backs. He's doing something that this club has been missing for a long, long time, and
yeah.
I enjoyed watching that. It was a breath of fresh air, and I hope it continues. But I'm not sure how, like I said, how Griezmann is gonna be. What is it, integrated into the lineup,
Integrated into the
in
team.
the next lineup.
Yeah, just want to highlight on Dembele's performance a little bit because obviously, after Leo Messi, um, I think him and De Jong were the best players for Barcelona. And he gave Navas and Koundé a hard time today. But going forward, right, he's been very inconsistent. Now if you look at the team sheet, we're just talking about Griezmann. If you're Ronald Koeman, you look at this starting 11, he's probably the most replaceable name out there for Griezmann, right?
Say that again. Uh,
Looking at the starting 11,
mhm.
you look at all the players that there are, and you need to put Griezmann in. I'm thinking Dembele is probably the most replaceable name out there. But then, given his performance, would it be fair for him to be benched?
No, that would be unfair to bench him. But here's the thing: you're forgetting that despite us winning the game today and it being a fantastic performance, we've lost two players today to injuries: Ronald Araujo and Pedri,
Yeah,
who
I haven't forgotten that.
yeah.
Because Araujo got
So
like he came on for a mere 120 seconds and then he was off.
mhm. And Pedri was taking off, and apparently he has an ankle sprain,
Yeah,
which I'm assuming would take at least 2 weeks.
but it shouldn't be a long term thing, which is fortunate
Mm,
for him in Barcelona. Um, so looking forward now, you got still a tough run of games. Looking forward to the cup match, especially against Sevilla.
mhm.
Now, I want to shift the side to Sevilla a little bit more because as a neutral fan, when I was watching the game, I was just looking at how bad Sevilla were. Um, I know as a Barcelona fan, you're looking through the lens of how good Barcelona were, but
And I
personally,
said also Sevilla looked like they were focused on the cup game more today. I mentioned
yeah,
that as well.
and you notice something. Uh, Lopetegui took out all three of his forwards at like
Yeah,
very short minutes of time. Do you think he just threw the towel in?
I think Lopetegui noticed that this game was not the game to focus on and decided to shift his aim to the more important game, a game that would define Sevilla's season. Since this season they're not in the Europa League like usual. They're in the Champions League still, but they've lost the first leg to Dortmund, and it's not looking good for them in that competition. So the only thing that's left for Sevilla this season would be the Copa del Rey, would be the Spanish Cup, and at the moment they're leading 2-0 against Barcelona. So it makes sense that they would focus their it makes sense that they would focus on that game more than a league game that would maybe put them in third, and wouldn't be as significant because let's be honest, third, fourth, it doesn't really matter where they
They're the
end up.
same thing.
They're the same thing. So in terms of the focus, it was a correct decision to focus on that cup game. But then again, they could have Sevilla today could have came out and given Barcelona a tougher game. If they came in and won today's game, they would have killed two birds with one stone today. They would have mentally shaken Barcelona before that second Copa del Rey game. And
Yeah,
you know how
definitely.
Barcelona are mentally. And if you're targeting that side of the team, it will always work in terms of beating Barcelona. Um, in that regard. So if Sevilla came out today the way they usually do and they managed to crumble Barca, that would have helped them even more, you'd say, for the second leg. But another approach would be to rest your players and just focus on the second leg and maybe lose this game. It's not going to really do any damage to Sevilla's season, if I'm being honest. So they did come out a different outlet today, and of course, as much as I want to give Barcelona all the credit for winning today's game, keeping a clean sheet, which is crucial as well because we need 2 goals, 3 goals in the second leg of the cup, but we also need a clean sheet. And Barcelona managed to tie the result and keep a clean sheet today. So I can't complain honestly.
Okay, before I ask you the most important question of do you think Barcelona will be overturning the tie, I just have another thing to point on. We saw Martin Braithwaite come on today, right? And he was excellent versus in the midweek as well, I believe, against Elche.
Mhm.
Why do you reckon Griezmann didn't come on? Like, was it more of a like for like substitution, or is it the systematic thing?
Can you remind me who Braithwaite came on for again?
Braithwaite came on in the 82nd minute, so he came on for Dembele.
For Dembele. Yeah, it was. I think it was more of he didn't want to bring on Griezmann for just a mere 5 minutes and ruin his confidence in case he's probably not going to do anything in those 5 minutes. So it would have been pointless to bring on Griezmann in a game like this. If you're not going to give him 30 minutes at least or 20 minutes, then there is no point of bringing him on in the last couple of minutes for Dembele. I think that was more of a like wasting time sub, just a sub for the sake of giving someone a few minutes,
Giving
and
Braithwaite
that
some
would work.
minutes.
Yeah, that would work for a guy like Braithwaite, but a star like Griezmann, I don't think they would accept a mere 6 minutes at the end of a game like a youngster would.
Yeah, definitely. So, are you optimistic now after these back-to-back wins? And in good fashion too. Barcelona have been the best team, best attacking team in La Liga. I mentioned this last week too, but you weren't too convinced. And with a back five, perhaps their defensive woes can also be fixed. So, are you optimistic for next week versus Sevilla in the second leg?
I think we can beat them. I think we can overturn that game. To be specific, I am optimistic for that game. But if you're asking me anything beyond that,
No,
I
I'm
can't. Yeah.
specifically asking you about the second leg Copa del Rey.
I'm confident. I'm confident in the second leg. I believe that today's win was a major step forwards. But we have to be careful. We have to be careful who starts in that second game, and we have to remember that a few players that played in today's lineup are not going to be there in the second leg, such as Pedri, I think, and someone who we hoped would be there in the second leg, Ronald Araujo, is probably going to miss that game as well. But at the same time, we performed great today. We sent the message. We beat them away from home. I think mentally for Barcelona, beating teams like Sevilla away from home goes a long way. And losing a game away from home like Sevilla also does the same damage in terms of what it does to the club. Like if Barca beats Sevilla away from home, it does give them an advantage for the next
Yeah,
couple of games mentally. And on the opposite, if they lose, you see that Barcelona is affected. Not just for that game, it's usually a chain of losses or draws or bad results. We don't just simply lose one game. So I believe that Barcelona have what it takes to beat Sevilla in the second leg, but we have to be careful. Uh, I guess I'll know when we see that lineup, when we see who Koeman decides to trust in that second leg. Does he go with the same lineup? Does he put Griezmann in Pedri's position today, for example? Since Pedri's gonna probably miss that game, we could
why
see
not? Why not
Griezmann.
Ricky Puig?
Um, I don't believe that Koeman will start Ricky
It is a
Puig in
cup
a
game after
semi-final.
all.
It is, but it isn't. It is basically Barcelona's season, depending on that cup game. Because let's be realistic, it's the league and the cup that we only have. We have no shot in that Champions League second leg. Don't tell me there's a
Wow.
comeback or no.
Okay.
So these
No,
are our
but
only hopes for the
wouldn't you
season of
feel
ending
like,
with a trophy.
yeah, wouldn't you feel like, you know, he Puig is probably the most like replacement for Pedri.
I would,
And
I would, and I would love to see him play.
If Griezmann starts, that means Messi drops back. Virtually, that's what it would mean. That it would still mean that Griezmann is playing up top, and Messi is the one that fills in the spot of Pedri. But then again, when Barcelona play like that, that means De Jong also has to fall back a little bit more.
Now that's true, but I think Griezmann also offers the high work rate that he does because he does tend to track back and help a lot with that. So I do think that Griezmann can play that role, that attacking midfielder role, and we've seen him do that a few times this season, alternating with Messi in the attacking third.
Yeah.
Sometimes Messi would drop and create, sometimes Griezmann would drop and receive the ball and begin the link-up play. So I believe that Griezmann can do a good job in that role, but of course, I would love if Ricky starts that game because realistically, looking at it, he was like you said, the best like for like almost replacement for Pedri, and I do believe that even at times Ricky exceeds Pedri's performances at times, to be honest. So he could get a chance, but I don't believe that Coman starts him in the second leg. I think Griezmann starts.
Okay. Well, there you have a call from Abdullah right here on the Two Halves podcast. So I just want to talk more about injuries and general injuries that have been going on with Barcelona. Um, what do you think? Off topic now, moving away from the game. Uh, where do you think Phil Coutinho's place is now? Phillipe Coutinho. He's been
Oh, he still
injured.
plays for us.
He's a Barcelona player, and he's virtually forgotten, right? Like, cause it hit me today. I was like, wait a second. Like, there was another 100 million player that they had. I just can't pin it. Who is it? And then I remembered. Oh, Coutinho. So,
Billy C.
where as a Barcelona fan, where do you think his career is at? Do you think he has a future? And yeah, I mean, I think he's expected to come back soon into the squad. So, where do you see him being played, or if not being played at all?
It is honestly a subject I've thought about lately, and I did remember that he does play for us, unfortunately. But yeah, Coutinho's situation, I think, is one of the most confusing situations for a Barca fan. I don't even know where to play the guy in my Barcelona career mode, man. Like, there's honestly there's no space. There's no space for Coutinho at the moment, and we see the likes of Ricky Puig not even guaranteed to
Getting
start in
his
the
yeah.
lineup. So how about a guy like Coutinho, who hasn't even excelled in a single position at Barcelona, except for maybe the attacking mid earlier this season? And he showed some promising signs that he could be that attacking midfielder that we were missing earlier on this season. We thought that Koeman maybe could get the best out of him, but he did eventually get that long injury, that injury earlier on. And it wasn't at the best time as well. It's not like he was on a hot run of form. It's not like he was carrying the team or doing something special at that time. So it was a bad long injury at a bad time for Coutinho as well. So I think that is why, as a Barca fan and a lot of Barca fans, if you would ask them the same question, where would you see Phil Coutinho at the club? Where do you see his role in the club in the next upcoming months? Do you see him leaving, going? I would not know what to say because if he was on a hot run of form, for example, let's use an example like Fatty, for example. He got
Yeah.
injured. It was a long injury. But we all know that Fatty's probably going to get back into that starting lineup once he comes back from injury. We know that what
Yeah,
he has as a
definitely.
role. We know
Either
what
if
he
he's
can
not
produce.
starting, he'll be on the fringe. He'll be that guy coming on at 60 minutes, because he's young. Even though he's been a great player. I mean, probably I would say for the first 2 3 months of the season, he was probably Barcelona's, until to the point where he got injured. I think he was Barcelona's best player. Um,
Agreed.
so, given that he's young, he might, be rotated. Given the fact that Dembele is also back, Griezmann's playing, Braithwaite's been on good form, like we mentioned. Um, okay, so Coutinho to be sold this summer or no? As a Barcelona fan, looking at the thing that Barcelona are in a crippling debt, you don't know where to play him. Do you think Barcelona should cut their losses on Coutinho?
Of course, but who wants him? If there's any club that is willing to pay 40 million at least, 50 million, ship him off, of course. And I'm
That's
sad
not
for
a
Coutinho
lot in
because
this day's market. 40 million is
and
not a
I
lot.
don't even know if we can get that much for him, to be honest. That's the issue because now it's not just Coutinho's form or the way he's playing. It's also now he's getting injured again. Now he's getting long injuries, and those injuries take a toll on a player. I'm not sure any club in Europe in this predicament wants to invest in a player that fragile and unreliable. Let's be honest, because no matter what you say about Coutinho scoring 2 goals against Barcelona in that 8-2 win, he wasn't really a consistent performer for Bayern Munich last season, even though
The
he was
game was
solid for
dead.
them. Yeah,
The
he
game
was
was
he was
dead.
he was inconsistent for Bayern as well. So let's look at it. When was the last time that Coutinho was actually good for an extended period of time? And it's only it's Liverpool. Last time he was
That's true.
that good on a consistent basis was Liverpool. When he came to Barca, first few months were decent. He was good, and then when we started shifting him back as shifting him to the wings, that's when he struggled. And from there, we didn't know what to do with him. So the club loans him. Bayern doesn't know what to do with him. They play him wide. They play him cam. They sub him on here and there. He performs here and there. Now we bring him back, and everyone thought that he was going to be playing that attacking midfielder role. Long gone are the days where we're going to see Phillipe Coutinho being played as an out winger when he's clearly not a winger. So he was good in the preseason earlier on. He was good in the opening La Liga games, got a couple of goals. I genuinely thought, okay, we might have actually found the right solution for Phillipe Coutinho, but no. a couple of games later, and it's not just his fault, honestly, but you can't take away the blame from Phillipe Coutinho as well. But Ronald Koeman did push him out wide again, which was a staple mark failure for Coutinho at Barcelona. We've seen Valverde put him there, didn't work. Setien put him there, I think, or did he? No, he did not. My bad. Coutinho earlier on this season, Koeman played him out wide. That's when he started putting in the poor performances, and that's when the doubt of where this Phillipe Coutinho fits in the club started to return. Now you don't know where this guy's going to play. Now you have Pedri that can occupy that attacking midfielder role. Now you have Riqui Puig that can occupy that creative midfielder role. You've got Messi who can play that role. You have Griezmann that can play that role. So many players in the
De
team
Jong,
that can.
Busquets,
Yeah.
they're if when they're
Everyone can
playing a
play that
back
role.
five, right? Those guys can just push forward as well.
So I don't see what Coutinho can offer that is better than those guys, to be honest. And with Coutinho, you're not getting a player that is going to help with the defense as well. You're not getting a player that is going to constantly press and help with the defense and help the team when we're under attack. He's not that type of player. So you're essentially adding another player with low defensive work rates to the team, which is already struggling defensively.
Defensively, yeah, that's true.
So I see why there's no place for Coutinho, and I wanted him to succeed, and I thought he was going to earlier on this season. But there's nothing else to do with Phillipe Coutinho but sell him. But the problem is finding a club that is willing to invest in his ability, because I don't think he's finished as a player. I think he has quality as a player. I think he can produce that for a team, but I don't think that team is FC Barcelona. And I think it's unfair for him and it's unfair for the club to keep him beyond this summer.
Well, I couldn't agree more. Uh, Empathetic for him. He had a great start to his career at Liverpool, and then it's just gone sideways since then. Anything else you'd like to add, Abdullah?
Uh, Honestly, I hope things continue the same. I hope I hope this is not just another one of those step forward,
A
two
blip.
steps back a week later, because it is a position we've been in multiple times this season. We win a couple of games. We think, season's gonna finally get on, without us, falling and having to restart and think of another solution to our problems. So everything's looking good at the moment. Laporta presented his presidential. I don't know, what was it today. He had a press conference today where he was talking about the future of the club. So a little optimistic regarding the club. The elections are coming closer as each day goes by. We could be in a very solid position. We could knock out Sevilla. We could be in a Copa final. We could be in a solid position in the league. And who knows, come back in the second leg against PSG. No, just kidding.
All right. I think this is the point where we end it.
No, and then before I
Before
get more delusional. End it.
before delusion and waywardness and dreams kick in. Thank you so much for your time, Abdullah, and thank you for all of you for listening in. If you liked this video, please give us a like and let us know what would you recommend down below in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, we'll catch you in the next half.